As chair of the Budget Recommendations Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. A public notice of this meeting was posted on the town website and on the bulletin board of the town offices at 10 Front Street. As provided in that public notice, the public may access the meeting online and via phone. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. We will start the meeting by taking roll call attendance when each member states their presence. Please also state if there was anyone in the room with you and who that might be. This is required under the right to know law. I will begin. I'm Robert Kelly, the chair of the committee, and I am alone in the room. And I will go according to the order that you are on my screen. So when I call you out, please unmute and proceed accordingly. Doreen?
Doreen Chester, Finance Director. Oh, and I'm alone in the room. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nico?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. I'm Nico Pepper-Kirsten-Dees. I'm chair of the select board and I'm alone in the room.
Chief Wilking?
Yeah, Eric Wilking. I'm your fire chief and I'm currently alone in the room.
Chief Poulin?
Good evening, Stephen Poulin, Chief of Police, and Deputy Chief Michael Monk is also here.
Excellent. Nancy Belanger?
Nancy Belanger, Chair of the General Government Subcommittee, and I'm alone in the room.
Judy? Unmute yourself, please.
There. Is that okay?
It is.
Judy Rowan, Chair of the Police and Fire Subcommittee, and there's no one in the room with me.
Don?
Don Clement, Thelma Drive. I'm alone in the room.
Chris Zigmont?
Good evening, Chris Zigmont, and I am alone in the room.
Tom?
Good evening, Tom Zwan, 7 Marlborough Street, member of the Water and Sewer Subcommittee, wife in earshot right now, will be leaving soon.
Joanna?
I'm the recording secretary, Joanna Bartel, and I'm alone in the room.
Thank you. Liz?
Liz Canada, 58 Columbus. I'm alone in the room.
Corey?
Evening, everybody. Corey Stevens, JD Hill Ave. I am the chair of the DPW General Subcommittee this year, and I am alone in the room.
Russ?
Good evening, everyone. Russ Dean, town manager, and I am, my family is in a couple rooms over, so they are in and about and around. So there's 3 of them.
Great. Justin?
Thank you. Justin Pizon, Assistant Fire Chief, and I am alone in the room.
Amy?
Hello, Amy Farnham, and I am alone in the room.
Chris? Teen?
Hi, Chris Suter, Cullen Way in Exeter. I'm library, Parks and Rec and Human Services, and my husband is in the next room watching South Park.
Very nice. Thank you, everyone, and welcome. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the police and fire department budgets. We will touch briefly on vehicle and CIP requests, but as always, delay the detailed discussion until November on that. Judy Rowan is the chair of that subcommittee, and myself and Kathy Corson served with her on that. And Judy, why don't you walk us through the budget process and proceed?
Thank you. First off, I wanted to give a special shout out to each of the chiefs who delivered very lean budgets this year and reduced our workload tremendously. It's a great effort on their part. The police department budget has come in with a 1% increase, fire department with 1.2% increase, and public safety shared services is down 6.3%. So I don't think we can complain a whole lot about our starting point. Looking at our summary, the recently completed public safety study thoroughly reviewed operations, procedures, standards, training, personnel, IT, and the facility for both police and fire. Each department has begun implementing the relevant recommendations. In the police department, this has meant moving one detective to patrol for better coverage, increasing meeting frequency to improve communication, changing how prosecutor services are provided, and beginning the process to get departmental accreditation. That's a CALEA accreditation. Fire department applied for a SAFER grant for 2 firefighter EMTs. This would be a 3-year grant to increase each of 2 shifts by 1 firefighter EMT to reach the recommended per apparatus. Though unsuccessful this year, the fire department will reapply next year. Both this study and the 2007 study made recommendations about upgrading and or replacing the current safety complex. The subcommittee has begun preliminary discussions with each department and other town entities regarding options and priorities. No recommendations at this early stage. The subcommittee, relative to vehicles, the subcommittee recommends deferral of vehicle replacements for 1 police department hybrid patrol cruiser and fire department car 2 replacement, and the purchase of 1 police department hybrid patrol cruiser. And on to the budget itself. You have all received the updated financials from Doreen, and these, I understand, include the updated health insurance numbers. Is that correct, Doreen?
I don't think we have the updated health numbers yet.
I checked with Laura, and I believe they're in what was just recently sent out to you.
That's correct.
That's true.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. I was going to share my screen. Is that helpful to everyone? So
Sure.
you can see the updates I'm making. Okay.
Okay. And looking at our report, you will see we have very little to comment on, thanks to the work of each of the chiefs. One issue I thought that you might be concerned about is the increase in salary and wages in the police department. And the department itself reviewed these positions and found that the secretarial administrative position was no longer necessary. Going down to 51450, the education incentive, that's a contract item. So that's something we were not going to change that. Looking at 55001, accreditation. On my report, this is, or the subcommittee report, this is not a very accurate description. The actual description of this particular item is that these are expenses that the police department currently contracts for. The Power DMS is their online policy management and software and Guardian tracking. These expenses could be put under software, but are here under accreditation by history. The Power DMS is a requirement of accreditation for the department. Do we have questions about any of those lines? And you may notice 55106 equipment purchase. The actual is low. They expect to spend this line.
Judy, I just wanted to point out, Doreen, I think there's a way you can actually make this screen larger.
Okay.
If people are feeling like it's too small and they can't see the numbers, there's a view option. I know that you can go up under view. It should be a standard. There should be a standard view, which automatically increases the size of the spreadsheet on the screen for anybody who wants to see it.
Okay.
And then there should be like a zoom ratio that lets you blow it up a little bit more, because it was just a little bit small on my screen, I know.
I can't see it, so I'm glad you're telling me that. All I see is Excel.
Oh, okay.
So let's see. It's on Optimize, so maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. Once you share it, if you look for the option to, increase the size, it looks pretty good now.
Okay.
On my screen.
Can everybody see this okay?
I see it just fine.
Yeah.
Okay, and Judy, if you could just say what department you're in, I'm just having a little bit of, I'm trying to follow and make sure everybody could see. Are you in patrol now?
Okay. Now, our report is in the combined.
Oh, okay. I can do that too.
Rather than separated out, but the detail is, as you say, in separate departments.
Right.
I think we should. Move and vote on the individual divisions.
Okay.
And then summarize, unless you want to just do the bottom line, Judy. I guess it's your call.
Well, we have two different sets of numbers. The one that's replacing the one in the binder is a combined. So if people are tracking, but what Doreen has put up is separate departments. Well, shall we just go with what is up here? Start with benefits total in administration.
Oh, administration. Okay, I will be right there.
And police.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted, Bob?
Well, I guess it's your call. I mean, what we have is the bottom line. So what we don't know won't hurt us. But I think historically we approve each division, and then that summarizes into the bottom line. So we don't have any changes necessarily in this budget, but typically we go through and vote on the individual divisions.
Okay. So then for police, we're looking at the bottom line for the administration, the total administration total.
And I have $818,453.
Can I ask a quick question? I have my hand up.
Sure, Corey.
Thanks. The version 2 updated 10/20/20 that you sent around, or got sent around, I should say, that doesn't have it by department. Was that meant to replace our pages in our binders?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Because then what we're looking at here isn't like what we have in our binder then. So I just want to make sure we have numbers we can scratch into our binders.
Yeah, nor is it the same as our subcommittee report. So I'm trying to figure out what we reviewed and agreed upon versus the separate department listings.
And the new numbers that were sent out by Doreen are different than the public safety numbers that Pam sent out yesterday. So we want to make sure we get the right numbers. That's, I guess, my point.
Yeah, unfortunately, I find that there's always issues in sharing Excel files. I don't know, we noticed that only general expenses were added up in I think it was the BRC one. So I'm not sure what occurred, but I'm confident in what I have up on the screen, and I can certainly send the whole committee tomorrow morning, the whole budget as voted.
Doreen, do you also have the combined, what was sent out to replace what was in people's binders?
Yeah, I can pull that up. It would just be a copy of this. The combined I have. Are you talking about the one that looks like this?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what our subcommittee report is based on, and that's what people would replace the earlier copies in their binders.
Okay.
So that total, if we're looking at total police department with the combined, we can get that up.
Yep.
You okay with that, Bob?
Yes.
Okay, so the total police department is $3,359,779.
Could you repeat that, Doreen?
Oh, sure. 3,359,779.
Corey?
Thanks. Couple questions. Can you remind me back up in the benefits, retirement police, what that line is? I mean, it's probably self-evident, but it went up 50 grand. I was just curious what that does.
Okay, so here's the retirement, and the original number, the initial number was 510 this year, but then because of the increase in the contribution on the part of the town of Exeter, it went up from 28.43 to 33.88 July 1 of 2021. And that's this line item here, 52,310. And this is the retirement for police.
It's our contribution to retirement funds.
That's correct.
Okay, thanks. And then if I may continue, 55047 computer maintenance. I believe last year or 2020 is the first year that we contracted with an outside vendor to provide us with IT services. So I was just curious on a little bit of feedback from the chiefs on how that's going. And are we getting what we thought we were getting?
Maybe Chief Poulin can weigh in on that.
Yes, we're very happy with the services that we've gotten. There's a lot this first year. There's been a lot of trying to sort things out, working with Andy in the server room and things like that. But between Eric and I, we're very impressed. We're
cool. And so what does it end up being for you guys? Is it people on site a couple days a week, or is it just a number you can call, or how's the support working?
Okay, it's mostly remote, but they have done site visits to kind of explain things a little better to us in person of how things are going.
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Tom, you had a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll throw this one at the police chief, but maybe others are up to bat for this one as well. There was something about the memorial item. I'm sorry, I'm losing it right now because I got so many flow sheets, but there's something kind of light landscaping thing outside the public safety complex. And I know we voted on that last year. I know COVID-19 came around. Can someone just bring me up to speed on where that stands and why it's still showing up on our flow sheet this year?
Absolutely. So there should be, this year you should see a reduction in that. The explanations for some reason look like they weren't updated on some of these, but you should see a reduction on that. We waited due to COVID on purchasing that this year. We were going to defer it, but then we've been approved to go ahead and get that. The Exeter Police Stone is on order. We should be expecting it in the next couple of weeks. So that's going to be happening this year as we planned.
So those funds were approved last year, were they not? Will they be fully encumbered with last year's approval, or is there a carryover to this year?
There's no carryover. They're going to be used this year in 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is item 55133 for people tracking that.
Thank you, Judy.
So why don't we move and second and vote on the administrative number of 818,453 before we get to the bottom line?
So moved, Chris Suter.
Second.
Thank you, Nancy and Chris. Any further comments or questions?
Bob, I thought we were doing the combined, which is what was sent out to people.
Discussion?
Yeah, but what I said is I'd like to vote on, because there are so many numbers floating around, I want to make sure we vote on the right ones. So I'd like to vote on each individual division. Basically admin, staff, and patrol.
The copy sent out to people that is the combined, which is the same format as what had previously been in the binder.
Right, but presumably this will get rectified, and I just want to make sure we're voting on the right numbers. John?
No, I found the answer to my question. Thank you.
So the admin for $818,453 has been moved and seconded. I will conduct a roll call for the vote, starting with myself. I will vote aye on this motion. Nancy?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
John? Corey?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don? Mr. Clement?
No.
Unmute yourself, please, Don.
Aye.
Thank you.
There's a confusion between Don and Ton, that's why.
Sorry.
These last names.
I will do that. Kaylee, welcome, and how would you vote on this?
I think I probably have to abstain. I just got here.
Okay. And Liz?
Aye.
Thank you. It's a vote. Why don't we proceed with staff division, Judy?
I have to say this is very confusing to me because this is not the version that was sent out to everyone that they would replace in their binder, and we did not use that in our subcommittee. So I do not have those figures to look at myself.
Well, I agree, but Doreen has them and she's showing them to us. And I think it's our duty to confirm them instead of just voting on a bottom line, because that's the way we've done it in years past. And it seems to have worked pretty well.
That's not what I'm saying. She also has the combined, which is what,
both. Yes.
Was what was shared out.
So I'll just comment here. I know people aren't feeling like this is a perfect process, but last year, and Doreen and I have had the conversation a couple of different times about wanting to work to eliminate some of the programs, meaning collapse the budget so you can see more police and fire in total. But that's an ongoing conversation, so I apologize if the format's a little difficult to follow. This is the old format.
I think as long as the bottom line comes to what the subcommittee is recommending, then I would feel comfortable continuing to vote on the departmental lines, knowing that in the end, Judy, it all comes down to the number that your subcommittee is comfortable with.
I think you should be able to compare it to the.
How about this as a compromise? We'll go through the budget. We will get the numbers for our record, but we'll just vote on the bottom line, since that's what we have. We'll go that route. So are you done with your presentation, Judy, on the police budget, or are there more sections in staff and patrol that you want to address?
No, that's, I'm on to the total.
Okay. So Doreen, could you just, so I don't have to minimize the people and participants, could you just read off the staff number for me, please?
Of course. The police staff number is $667,313. And again, that's 667,313.
Thank you. And patrol?
Okay, patrol. Patrol total is $1,871,362. And again, that's 1,871,362.
For a department total of $3,359,779. Is that correct?
That's correct. And then you also have animal control in there. I don't know if you wanted to do that separately. It's $2,651.
Thank you.
And then I will go to the consolidated and make sure that this ties to the 3359779. And here we are here. This is the consolidated worksheet that Judy's more familiar with. And that's the same total, the $3,359,779.
I want to entertain a motion for that police department budget.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second?
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll take a roll call vote. I will vote aye on this motion. Nancy?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Swan? Unmute yourself, please.
Sorry, I thought I did that. Tom Swan votes aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye. Aye.
John Clement?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And Liz?
Aye.
Thank you. It's a vote. Well, as Judy forecast, that was pretty easy. Do you want to, I know you said it in the beginning, but do you want to just go over again our discussion about the vehicles, please?
Yes. The vehicles we are recommending in the police department is one hybrid patrol cruiser and deferring the second patrol cruiser. Both would be hybrids. Do you want the cost and so on?
Sure.
The hybrid police interceptor is $48,000 total. That's $39,500 for the interceptor itself, and $8,500 for the equipment purchase, transfer, installation, and the signage.
And the reason why we recommended one over as opposed to two is that since this is relatively new, we're all we're excited about the possibility to collect some data about a hybrid vehicle, but we wanted to, especially in this year where sort of discretionary purchases like that are going to be tough ones, as we will see in the next couple of weeks. we thought that it would be good to get one and collect some data as to what the savings, fuel savings might truly be, how they perform, because there are some acceleration issues for any of you who have hybrid vehicles. And so we'll get some feedback from the chief and the deputy chief on that aspect of them. And then next year we can review that and see what we'll see about the other vehicles. So that was our thought process. Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know further discussion will be had on CIP night, but I'm curious what the upfront cost difference is, ballparkish, of a hybrid vehicle versus a more standard vehicle. I understand that I'm sure you have to think about the savings in the long run as well, but curious about that. And is this something that the sustainability people were also involved with? I'm just curious on that. Or is this something that is this an initiative that the police department came up with itself?
Chris? Zygmunt?
Yeah, just quickly, Dave Sharple's team worked on a study over the summer, looking at our total footprint, and part of the recommendation that was given to us by our grant charge, a young lady that came down from the University of New Hampshire, did a big study, was hybrid vehicles were going to be key to us meeting our both 2030 and 2050 goals. For our greenhouse gas emissions after our greenhouse gas emission audit. So throughout the town, as we have these opportunities to replace vehicles, obviously with the police department, there's, the performance considerations need to be considered for sure. But it was critical as these vehicles expire and need to be replaced, that the hybrid was going to be critical to be the first term 2030 goals. So yes, we did have a bit of a discussion about it and work with Dave on getting that move forward.
And we think that's an excellent idea, but again, sort of walk before we run type of thing. This will be a good opportunity to get into it without maybe going too far. So we'll spend the year and collect that and do that analysis. Any other questions before we go to fire? Thank you, Chief Poland and Deputy Chief Monk. I appreciate your meeting with us and all the input and everything. And thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you all and have a good night.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, Judy, proceed with fire if you would.
Fire. And we have Chiefs Wilking and Assistant Chief Pizon in the wings awaiting us in terms of any questions that we have. And again, we have the subcommittee report is in the terms of the combined, which was what was sent out to everybody. The updated was the combined, not departmental.
Combined's on the screen now, I believe.
Okay. That makes life a little easier.
Uh-huh.
Okay. We have general government on view.
I think that's a header issue.
Yeah, it's the fire department.
There you
go. So as with the police department, the subcommittee did not have a lot to comment on given the good work of the fire department. Item 51300, this is a low number in the actual, but they do expect to spend this on vehicle maintenance, fire alarm maintenance, and hazardous material training. The same is true for a number of other items. 51130, they expect to spend. 51420, holiday pay. The holidays are coming up. They expect to spend that line item in November and December. And 55091, education training, they expect to spend that, as they expect to spend 55132, general equipment repair. You will see a decrease in 55149, hose replacement, just to let you know what that is about. There's a new engine and it does not need hose replacement as the old ones do. And 55199, they expect to spend that line item as they expect to spend 55237, the radio repairs and maintenance. 55095, the chief caught this and he made the correction to the number that we were submitting. They have some reusable supplies, so that number is now 2,500 instead of 3,500. Do we have questions on items?
Yes.
You need to learn how to use your hand wave option there, Todd. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not available on my screen. So thank you. Maybe it's just a note problem, but I'm confused about the very first line, which is 51110, salaries, wages, full-time. The note indicates 2 new full-time firefighter medics for 6 months. Am I reading that correctly, or is that note mistaken, or am I misunderstanding something?
I think you're spot on. It's a note mistake. I think it's part of the migration issue Doreen spoke of earlier. 31 full-time employees is an accurate number, and there was no increase in personnel. And even if there was a SAFER grant, there would not have been an increase. So migration error, it should not be there at all.
Thank you.
Kaylee?
Yes, and I apologize if this was spoken about earlier in the beginning. Just curious what the committee felt about leaving in the conference rooms and meals money in there for next year.
The number you're referring to.
55050 is the, nope, hold on. Yes.
Is it in fire admin? Or
it
was,
Russ.
If you're in the consolidated budget, the version, you can just go up to conference room meal. It should be just one line item.
And it's about 3/4 of the way down.
There it is right there.
4,200. Yeah. Good catch.
Just because it wasn't used this year, and I know in our general government we reduced it because a lot of it will be webinars and the such, so we won't have much of a need for that. But I just wanted to see what the committee felt about that line item.
And again, the explanatory note is a migration problem.
I guess
Yes,
so.
it is.
So, Chief, can you comment on this line?
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. We discussed, we presented the budget. We presented either each line level funded or each line was reduced as appropriate. And we looked at them, and we had a discussion with Russ and Doreen, and that very topic came up. We level funded it. We historically have sent one chief officer to a conference, whether it was in New England or regional, but fully understand and respect what you're saying. Nobody can look into 2021. We're all desperately hoping to have a better year than 20, but you're absolutely right. There's no there's no guarantee the conferences will even be held, let alone we attend. So I'm game to for a recommendation. I'd hate to cut it to zero in case there were opportunities, but being realistic, does the committee feel 2,500 would be appropriate, or 2,000? I'm spitballing, quite honestly.
I'd suggest 1,000.
Okay, then that works.
Do I hear a motion for that?
So move.
Swan, second.
Was that you, Tom?
It was.
Thank you. Any further discussion? We'll be voting on reducing the 55050 conference room and meals budget to $1,000. Corey, did you have a question before we voted?
I have a question on another matter, so I'm going to just hold off until we're done with this.
Okay. I will vote aye on this motion. I will call roll. Nancy?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tanzwan?
Tanzwan votes aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Chris Zigmont?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Aye.
Kaylee? Christine Suter?
Aye.
And Liz?
Aye.
Thank you. It's a vote. Good catch, Kaylee. Corey?
Thinking about the comments about the SAFER grant and that we didn't get one this year, but we're going to try again next year, which is great. What's it going to take for us to get one of these? How does the town be successful in that? And what's your optimism for next year, given this year's experience?
Well, honestly, we are extremely optimistic this year. We spoke to our representatives in basically in FEMA Boston that were working hard with us to submit. And honestly, Chief Pizon did the heavy lifting here. I'd say right up until 1 week, 10 days actually, before the grant was to close, our chances were very good. They liked our grant application. We all know the coronavirus hit heavy in March and into April, and FEMA decided to do two things: infuse the SAFER grant fund with an additional $500 million. But more importantly, and negatively to us, they changed the rules to allow the larger communities, huge cities, access to funds with no copay, no buy-in, and that opened the floodgates for looking down through, and I'll call them out. City of San Francisco received $13 million, Cincinnati $11 million. I could go on. So towns like Exeter got kind of overlooked in what we felt was a very good grant app. Very explanations were super about where we were, what we were planning. One of the key points is I ask is this a result of a study or an analysis? And obviously that answer was yes. But here we go, another budget cycle without a grant. So Justin has spoken directly with our reps in Boston, and as soon as the letters go out, we're still in draft form for this. There is a very remote chance, however, a chance that we could be reviewed again. Some cities or towns may not choose to accept the funds. They go back in a pot and be redistributed. I'm not holding out hope, but there is a chance. But Justin's working with them, and they're going to review all the scores of the grant. They're going to review areas that we did not score with a perfect 10 points. And we'll come at it next year with far more knowledge than we went into it, with areas that we need to address, either be more clear in our app or come at it from a whole different perspective to get a higher score. So we're confident we can do better next year. We won't know until, I know Justin's on the line, I think it's February or March, they'll open it back up.
Yeah.
Going to go through the whole budget cycle.
Yeah, and I'll just add into it that we have not received a formal notification that we did not receive the grant. However, I know legally all grant requests and awards had to be done by September 18th. So I'm making an assumption. So I've already reached out to our local liaisons between us and FEMA and requested an opportunity for them to go through my application or our application and actually look at the areas where they felt we could have been stronger in. So I'm doing all I can. I am honestly going to do everything possible to try to make it a successful endeavor next year. And I think meeting with those regional reps from FEMA will be a big addition to if they can identify certain deficiencies we might have had in our application. But like I said, we haven't received an official decline yet, that we have not received the grant. And there is an opportunity if communities do not take the opportunity to receive those grant monies, then they will reallocate those funds. So I'm still cautiously optimistic that maybe it still might come through. But as of today, we have not received any notification whatsoever whether we received the grant or been denied. So.
And then just a quick follow-up before Don, just to everybody that's new and to remind us, what would we be doing with those SAFER grant funds should we get one?
The funds we requested were for 2 firefighter positions that would finish filling out the shifts that were, you're nodding your head, Corey, you were there. I want to say 3 years ago, 2.5 or 3, we put 2 people on, and during the study, they identified a number of issues with the use of them, and they recommended that our deployment would be better suited to have 7 personnel and just us dropping to a minimum number. And those 2 would just round out the shifts of 7.
Clement?
Yes. Hi, Chief Wilking. Hi, Assistant Chief Pizon. Good to see you guys. Question is, and it's kind of a follow-up on Corey's question. The SAFER grant would provide funds for us to hire 2 firefighter EMTs for how many years?
The grant was for 3.
3 years.
And when they changed the rules, it would have been 3 years, 100% salary and benefits, which was why a number of communities jumped on. A typical SAFER grant is a 70-30 grant. So we would be responsible for 30% of the total package, and the grant will cover 70% for a 3-year period.
For 3 years?
Correct. Yep.
For the first. Now, after the first 3 years, the SAFER grant ends, and we would be responsible as a municipality for covering 100% of 2 new firefighter EMTs going forward. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So something that we usually keep in mind for future budget committees, that if we do get this grant, and it's a great grant, don't get me wrong, we are increasing our staff that will increase our firefighter cost in the salary and benefits division in the next 3 or 4 years, possibility. Is that an accurate statement?
That is absolutely accurate, Don. And there's no, you're spot on. This was to bridge the gap. The need was identified. The study reaffirmed, if you will, the need. And if the town could even receive some relief for 3 years, we felt it was a win. If this was something we'd be moving to in the future. However, you are correct. The town this vote or the acceptance of the grant would cover a period of time, and then the town would have to decide, do we have the funds, or is it something we want to continue?
Yeah, and I think I do remember. I think it was 3 years ago. I was still on the select board at that time. Originally, the fire department was looking for 4 firefighters, EMTs, and I think through the entire budget process, we settled at 2. Yeah. So about 3 years ago. Thank you. Thank you very much.
In the study, the recommendation was based on having the full number of personnel for apparatus that would be for in allowing 3 for ambulance, 4 for an engine on a regular basis. Is that correct?
That's really good. The study recommended a number of changes that Chief Pizon and I have put in place. One would be the staff and ambulance that we currently do on our ALS calls or advanced life support with 3 people. The study recommended that we consider a consistent delivery model of 2 people per ambulance. So regardless what the station staff was, if we only commit 2 on the ambulance, we have more people to handle a second call or to assist the ambulance, let's say like a motor vehicle accident. And it makes sense, and that's the model we're moving towards, and we've begun to integrate in. Staffing currently can drop to 5. So regardless what our staff, our full staff is, whether it's 6 or 7, we will drop to 5 if someone happens to be on vacation or takes a sick day. So 5 people, easy math. If 2 will go on an ambulance, we have 3 in the station. What Judy just said is correct. If 2 go on an ambulance, we have 4 left in the station. If the ship has 6, we have an engine company covered. The study looked at a number of things, and I know Russ and I and the authors of the study have met. We'll meet one more time before it gets presented to the select boards. A lot of this is, I won't say premature, but you know, we haven't even had a chance to have the authors present. But some of the things they're looking at, the recommendations for 7, would include the ability for us to staff both ambulances with 2 and 2. They've identified about 15 or 16% of the time the fire department is responding on multiple calls within this time period, and I believe they use 30 minutes as a time period. So 2 and 2 would allow 3 people to be at the station that could still man an engine with a minimum crew, but it would be doable. We'd be able to take and respond to additional calls. That's kind of the thought process they had for a shift of 7, as opposed to dropping to 5 or running at 6. We'll always be cross-staffing in Exeter, which means people will be assigned a seat in one vehicle, and depending on the call type, they will jump in another vehicle. So whether it's the ambulance crew will be split between the ambulance and the ladder truck, or the engine crew, that will continue to exist in Exeter for quite some time. And there's no way we are going to recommend staffing high enough to eliminate cross staff. But Judy's right. The more numbers we have in the station, the larger the budget is to maintain those personnel. But the more efficient we are, the faster we can respond, and the more multiple calls we can handle at once. It's just a matter of striking that balance between what our needs are and what the town can afford. And that will be an ongoing discussion that I look forward to with Russ and the board and yourselves, not only this year, but next year and continuing on.
My comment, if I could, Bob, just take a moment and just say that this study is amazingly comprehensive on the department. It tracked all the data for a year and gave us information to use. And it's something that I think is a long-term planning tool for the town and can be used and will be used to make decisions going forward. I think one of the things I'd encourage the committee to do is read it in detail, because one of the things that consultants do say is they talk about staffing and they talk about need, but they also identify the fact that these are local decisions for us to make and that there are standards, but they're not mandates, and that we really need to look at this study carefully and dissect it. But certainly there are a lot of great recommendations in there. And, we did have a call with them the other day, as the chief pointed out, and we did do a deep dive into a lot of the recommendations that they had made and sort of the rationale that they followed and why. So I think that it's just an important document for the town to have, and I'm glad we have it. And I think we'll be consulting it many times over the next year or two.
And that study is on the planning department website?
We are actually, excuse me, the fire study is in a draft form still. It's in I would call it like a final draft. And the police study is in a final form. So the police study says final on it. The fire still has draft on it, and we're still working through the final details of that. But we are getting it on the website. I've emailed it to some of you individually. I know you've gotten it if you've asked me for it. And we're looking for a space for it to put it on the website. So we will get it up soon. I've been working with Pam on that. In fact, I was doing it today. So.
And where could interested people look for it on the website?
We'll let people know. It's likely that the fire one will go in the fire department site and the police one will go on the police site.
Would it be entitled something like Public Safety or the Center for Public Safety Management report, or?
Probably the Center for Public Safety Management police report, Center for Public Safety Management fire report.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Doreen, could you give us an updated total fire department with the change that we made?
Yes. Go back to here. All right, bear with me a moment.
Sure.
Okay, so the total fire department is $3,894,914. And again, that is 3894914.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, I will call a roll call vote. I vote aye on this motion. Nancy?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tanzwan?
Votes aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
And Chris Sigmont?
Aye.
And Corey, sorry.
Aye.
You moved around on my screen. It's a vote. Thank you. Judy, do you want to touch just briefly to mention what we're considering CIP and vehicle-wise for the fire department?
Fire department requested a replacement for the Car 2 vehicle, the command vehicle, and we thought, given the COVID implications on finances, that we would recommend deferring that replacement.
And in addition, Russ is embarking on a review of the town's vehicle procurement process. It's been a number of years since we put that in place, and he's put a request in to do an analysis next year on that. So it would be prudent to defer things like that until we get some updated analysis on that. So thank you. Judy, anything else? I think there was the SCBA. I think that's been deferred, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, what?
The self-contained breathing apparatus?
That's not included at this point.
Doreen, you had a question?
Well, I just wanted to make sure that we go over the shared services this evening, the police dispatch communications and the health. That was broken out separately in the consolidated report.
Right. Yep, I wanted to get the CIP for the fire department first.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
The last thing, and it hasn't really been in the CIP recently, is there's been renewed new discussion on a updated public safety complex. And as if you've read the CIP book for the past few years, and this year it's not, and the facility itself is not actually in there. So we're in the process of sort of getting an analysis done on that. So we don't have a number yet on what is going to be required next year. If anything, but I think there will be some. We've had some preliminary discussions with the two chiefs and their deputies on proceeding ahead with some, let's say, walk before you run, putting facility ideas together. And they are both very amenable and engaged in that process. So we'll have more for you in November on that. But at this point, it is a sort of a new discussion that we're looking very carefully at, as well as the number of other facility asks in the CIP that we're going to have to weigh in on. So there's a lot of balls in the air right now, and we're going to try to shake them all out as the best we can. So Judy, why don't you go over shared services with us?
Just a quick one. Sorry, before we go on from that, I would imagine that with that analysis that's being done, the recent study that was done for us is somewhat informing how we move forward with that.
Yes, that is actually sort of part of the initiative on bringing that up in the list, if you will, to at least have some discussions on it. Clearly having both the police and fire department in the same facility that they've been in for 40 years with a growing town is, maybe not the best approach. So we're looking at what the options might be.
Okay, moving on to communications. Everyone set with that?
Yes.
And I believe the budget you were sent includes the health insurance. Is that correct, Doreen?
Yes, that would have included the update to health insurance.
Okay.
Okay. I have it highlighted. It's 63,788.
Mm-hmm. So do we need to have a vote on that?
No.
Okay. Then we can move on to communications total.
Okay. Communications total is $398,386. That's 398,386.
I'd like to move that number.
I have a question.
Sure, Corey.
Yeah, sorry. Back up in the lines. So our capital outlay, 57,006, was for public safety camera system, and it shows unspent. Was that just frozen for last year or for this year? Sorry, and that's why it's not spent, or is there a plan to take care of that, or are we not because we're talking about future facilities?
I can follow up on that, Corey. My intent, and I believe I sent an email on that a couple of months ago to Chief Poulin saying that he was okay to go with that. So he's probably working on it now, but I can follow up with him and I'll get a note out to the committee on it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just the fact that it's not frozen is good for me. It sounds like it's in process. I remember talking, about that at length and getting description last year. So that's good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a second on.
Second?
Okay.
Thank you. So on the motion of $386 for the communication, I vote aye. Nancy?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Don Zwan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris Sigmund?
Aye.
And Corey?
Aye.
Thank you. Health?
Okay, health, there's no change in benefits, and you can disregard in those subcommittees to report the strange little $45 for consulting. Instead, it's $1, and that's for the ongoing sportsman's club consultation when required, hazardous materials remediation. It's a placeholder. But otherwise, no change.
Mr. Chair, if I could make a comment before you move on.
Certainly.
Beat me to it.
I just like to give a huge shout out to James Murray with all his spare time, with everything he's been doing with the COVID crisis. He and I sat down and reviewed the health budget. I asked him to review the mosquito control measures that we've been kind of moving forward, at least the past 3 years. We've had the same vendor. And much to our surprise, you're seeing an enormous decrease in cost of mosquito spraying and larvicide treatment and everything that Ken Burkenbush used to come here and speak worldly about. James was put quite a bit of work into this, and you're seeing the results of his efforts to keep that mosquito spraying the same as it is. There's no change in what we're doing. It was just a different vendor and a different approach, and I just wanted to make sure you knew his work went into that $17,000 decrease in the health budget. So.
Great, thank you.
I just want to say that's really awesome to see that, and I really appreciate someone going above and beyond to reduce spending. So my thanks to James.
Okay, just so I don't have to change time, you had a question?
Yes, thank you. So you said it, but I just want to double check because Don Clement made that point about the mosquito control and the cost. Does that answer Don Clement's concern about a lower priced service potentially having a different effect on the environment, that what we're doing is comparable and equivalent to what we were doing before, Chief?
That's what James and I put out for a request, and James was satisfied the product is the same product that oh my God, Swamp Inc. and
Dragon.
Justin, if you can. Dragon provided these prices.
Right.
Municipal Pest Management, I think, was the Mosquito Folk and Swamp Inc.
Correct.
They had the same product, the same larvicide, the same testing, and what this one did, it was a small measure, but what Dragon has done is included any necessary end of year, typically 1st of October. We used to call it emergency spraying when the mosquitoes really started to get thick before the frost kills them. This company included it in their price as far as their service, and it was an a la carte kind of deal with municipal pest management. It was an added anywhere from $2,400 to $2,800 that we would not spend if we didn't need it, but it was always in the budget had we needed it. So this was nice to be able to wipe that out as well. So it was part of the savings. But James did his research. He's convinced, and he's the question been answered is the same product for both companies, just a different application. I don't want to call it different application, different company with different methods. Therefore, there are some cost savings that they're passing on to the town.
Yeah, thanks, Chief, and thanks, Don, for pointing out that point earlier.
Don, did you have a question, Don Clement?
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. Thank you, Ton. Yes, I want to make sure that that's important, that we don't start using more toxic materials. I'm very concerned about the effect on the environment, effect on people. So if James has done his homework, I'm sure he has. I'm glad to hear that, because I want to make sure that we treat the mosquitoes, but we don't do it in such a sense that we not only kill mosquitoes, but we harm our people and our environment. But the second thing I wanted to add is I want to give thanks to James for the work he's done, because I know watching a lot of the select board meetings, I do watch them on that, is that he spent a lot of time with the COVID work that we have done in this town, making sure that we're safe, recommendations for masking, recommendations for sanitation and so forth. And I think he's really done a fantastic job. And I think we're very fortunate in this town to have someone who has worked so hard and has come up with such great recommendations, and also working not only with working with other departments and working with the town people. So a great, congratulations to him on this. And he's done a fabulous, fabulous job. And I'm sure he's going to have to continue to do that job next year. And I hope, that, we're providing him with enough support. But again, thank him very much for us.
Will do. And we are one of the few towns in the state with a full-time health officer. There aren't too many of them. And we're very, very thankful that we have him. And he's done a terrific job for us. And
absolutely.
This is a day-to-day thing, as you can imagine, for him. just about all day, every day. So thank you, Don.
Doreen, you have an updated health division number?
Yes, it's the same. So it's the 119, 196. There's no change.
Okay. Do I hear a motion on that amount? Judy?
Moved. Second, Chris Suter.
Thank you, Christine. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I vote aye on this motion. Nancy?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tanzwan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
And Chris Zigmont?
Aye.
Thank you. So, if my math is correct, the total public safety shared services budget is $517,582
Correct.
for your records.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Don Clement, seconds.
I vote aye on the motion. Nancy?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tanzwan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
And Chris Zigmont?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, anything else, Judy?
Just once again, I'd like to thank Chief Wilking for his being amenable to making adjustments to the COVID period that we're in and being open to what he can do with his budget. I appreciate that a lot.
Yes, thank you to both of the chiefs and their deputies for their work. So next Thursday, October 29th at 6:30, we'll be hearing from the DPW General Subcommittee chaired by Corey Stevens and assisted by Amy Farnham and Don Clement. And again, that's Thursday, October 29th. And until then, any other further questions or comments? Seeing none, until then, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.